Hit your gavel.
Good evening. This is a City of West Bend Park and Recreation Commission meeting for Thursday, March 21st. We do have a quorum, and let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Justice for all.
Justice for all. Justice.
Okay, first order of business is approval of the minutes from the February 29th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion or corrections? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Unfinished business. The nature playground at Lawrann Conservancy. Courtney and Mike are going to take care of this?
Yes. Okay, there. So this is a project we've been talking about for quite a long time and excited to be able to present it tonight. Rick Fox designed what you're looking at on the screens right now. You can see where it will be located, the Marin Center in the upper right corner, our barn, our shed, to kind of give you an idea of where on the property it will be located. So I'm going to go through tonight why we feel like this would be an important addition to the Conservancy and to West Bend, who we hope to serve, and why it will benefit the community. So currently, on average, the average American child is spending 4 to 7 minutes per day outdoors, while on the other hand, they're spending 4 to 7 hours per day on screens.
Hard to believe.
Resulting in nature deficit disorder, which contributes to ADHD, obesity, diminished use of senses, and negative emotional and physical wellness. So what we are currently serving at Lawrann is public and private school field trips, homeschool groups, daycare facilities, summer camps, recreation classes, Boy and Girl Scout groups, day programs for adults with disabilities, as well as just the public visiting us on a daily basis. And what we know this will bring to the community is nature-based play, which is different than your typical playground that you see. It will challenge the imagination, help develop fine and gross motor skills, help develop problem-solving skills, team building, and creative play. And currently, the closest playground that's comparable to what we're suggesting is in Waukesha, and there's people in West Bend that are traveling 45 minutes to an hour to go to a playground like this. Just to give you an idea of an aerial view of where it will be located, right now on the property you can see maybe in the right two pictures there's stakes in the ground that we have marked. Those correspond with the different areas of activities on the map that we showed in the first picture. So this gives you a layout of where it would be located on the property. This gives an example of what the entrance would look like, the bottom right picture, a toddler maze that Rick has helped design at a couple other playgrounds in the past, and we'll have raised planter beds that are wheelchair accessible. Our entrance going down the path up to the lookout deck will all be ADA accessible. And in our picture here, the chairs that are there, we already have some constructed by the park staff, and a bunch of us have had a chance to sit in them, so we have adult size and child size. That checkerboard in the upper right picture, we have an example of that here today that also was made by our park staff. The bottom right picture shows an example of a reading area that we want to have a little library up on the overlook deck for people to be able to sit there and read with their young ones, whether it's grandparents or parents. And the idea with this project is we want to build as much as we can in-house. The park staff have been saving wood from Lawrann and other properties that we're using to try to construct as much as we can as possible to make this an in-house, cost-effective project. This is an example of an amphitheater that we'd like to have where we would hold field trips, classes, and for people visiting such as homeschool groups to be able to use. The bottom right picture is an example of tumble mounds. This is something that's found at quite a few nature playgrounds that younger kids tend to enjoy running up them and rolling down them, log rolling. And these are some examples of the different areas that we would have at the playground. There's a music wall, which again, we're able to find supplies and keep it cost effective. A water wall where kids are able to scoop out of the pond and fill up buckets. And we have already 2 mud kitchens constructed from an Eagle Scout project that are ready to go out on the property. And this is an example of the agility area, which I'm biased and most excited about. We've got a lot of wood that we've been saving that we want to use in this area for kids to be able to use their gross motor skills. We have the largest elm tree in West Bend that came down 4 years ago that Dan's gonna make a log crawl through to have the kids, I don't know if adults will be able to fit through it, but log steppers up in the upper right corner, again, using trees that we have, and this tends to be one of the most popular. I've probably visited about 8 nature playgrounds, and this, all the kids are just climbing and having a blast, and it's fun to watch. This area here, this is what I tend to see a lot at summer camp is kids just want to build. So they are going and finding sticks, but we have sticks that we will already have pre-cut for them in a couple different areas. One in the bigger kid area that's kind of like life-size Lincoln logs and bigger sticks. And then on the far left side, we'll have some smaller building blocks with a table like that for the younger kids to be able to use for building. And the bottom right corner, we don't have that here at the meeting today, but we do have 2 sensory boards like that are made, sensory boards or texture boards. So each square has a different nature texture that the kids can go up and see up close and touch. And we are hoping to put in a slide. The grade of the property currently, luckily we do have some slopes and we can use those to our advantage and use it for something like a slide. Another area of the property is the town. So the bottom right corner gives you an example of like little buildings we would like to have for kids to use for pretend play, like the store, the bank, school, so that when kids are outside, they're visiting those and playing with their peers and able to pretend play while they're on the property. Upper right's an example of a bridge that's also on our layout, and that tower there in the middle, just giving some examples of kind of go with the pictures that you saw. So again, that's something that we met with our board last night, and they're very supportive, and a project that we're hoping to get up and running in 2024.
All right, thank you. I get to talk about the fun part of it, the costs associated with it.
That's where I was going.
So, like Courtney has already explained, I mean, this is a really exciting project, something we've been wanting to do for several years. We don't have anything like this in our county, in our neighborhood meaning the greater West Bend area. So there's definitely a need out there, but what will it take to make this a reality? So I'm not going to go down through every one of these line items, things like that, but I will refer to the 11 by 17 drawing that everyone has in front of them. So as I kind of go through this, I will use that as kind of my sounding board. As you can see, we have a lot of different activities going on with this nature play area. We have Schmidt Road, speed limit's 35 miles an hour. A lot of people are doing 42 miles an hour. That is a concern. We have a driveway right there. That driveway is basically used by staff and volunteers, but still there's vehicular traffic and some concerns with that, and just a close proximity to the building. So when we looked at this site, one of our needs is ADA compliance. So if you look at, let me back up here a little bit. So if you look at your map, you can see where the entry arch is by the Sensory Garden right there, and you follow that path down towards the Marin Center, the playground entrance where it's labeled there. We want to ensure that this area is ADA compliant. The entire site will not be ADA accessible. It doesn't have to be following federal guidelines, but we want to make sure that the entrance, the Sensory Garden, the wooden deck is ADA compliant, and we want to make it user-friendly. We have many grandparents these days taking care of their grandchildren, things like that. So someone with a mobility device or someone who does not want to run around this property, we can get them up to that wooden deck, and most likely they'll see their grandkids or their kids and things like that playing on this. So that's where our first line item is on our costs here, is overall site preparation. So we're going to have to, we want to maximize the elevation changes we have out there. Like Courtney said, we want to put in a slide. We don't want to build a big tower. We want to do that at grade. We want to use some of those slopes, but we do need to make this ADA compliant. And to hit those elevations, we would need to do some grading and some site preparation. That would be part of that $62,000. Sorry, my throat, too much talking. Also, what we would do is along Schmidt Road and along the driveway, we would install a fence. It would be a 6-foot tall wooden fence. In the pond right there, we'd actually run a cyclone fence into the water so the kids literally can't even sneak around that at all. Because when I was 9 and someone would have told me not to go around the fence, I probably would have done that first, you know, kind of deal. So we want to ensure that we have a safe site. The kids are interplaying, the adults, the supervisors don't need to be fearful that they're going to get out on the road, things like that. So that $62,000 would be, you know, some grading, some seeding, some site preparation. By that sensory area, between the sensory area and the driveway, there's a small retaining wall that we would have to construct. Again, it's just we need to make up some of those elevations to make sure we're ADA compliant from the existing elevations to that platform area. So that would be one of the first things we would want to do on site. The rest of the features that you see on here, under primary goals, we have about $250,000 in objectives. We don't need $250,000 to construct this. As soon as we raise money for one of the features, we can construct that one feature. If someone were to donate the funds for the Sensory Garden, we can construct that Sensory Garden without the wooden deck next to it. Someone wants to donate for the wooden deck, not a problem. We can construct that, put a gravel path up to it until we get donations for the Sensory, and we can just keep building onto this. As Courtney had already mentioned, some of the features we already have made. Our staff is working on those. Staff is working on them, and we've also had some really cool Boy Scout, Eagle Scout projects, things like that, once the site is graded, the fence is up, it's usable. We can start to use this location. So we don't need to raise $250,000 before we put a shovel in the ground. What we need is enough money to get started with the overall site preparation. That fence is critical because it's a safety feature with this site. So we have our primary goals on there, and then we also have secondary goals on, on the right half of that slide up there. Even with the secondary goals, same thing, we can just grow. We can just continue to grow these different elements, add these elements. The agility area, in-house, our staff will construct most of that. Even like funnel walls or water walls like Courtney had showed. We have a pond right there. We want to get the kids on the pond. We want to get them wet. We want to get them dirty. We want to have them use this and this. It's not a traditional playground out there. We want them to play in nature, use their minds, their imaginations. They want to play school. They want to play house. They want to do this. They want to do that. Go ahead and do that. Also with this site preparation, if you look on your drawing, you can see where it says the long slide. Underneath that slide, we have a tunnel underneath there. So when we do the grading, we don't want to pull this material off site. We start hauling material, that just increases our costs. So we'd use some of that material. We'd bury a large culvert under there to provide the kids a small tunnel area, things like that. So again, a lot of cool features. The kids can use their imaginations. Kids can get wet. Kids can play. We're gonna have, even underneath like the wooden deck area, we're gonna have that all open. If there's an autistic kid or maybe someone a little bit on the spectrum, they want a little bit of quiet time, they have those locations on, within this facility. So financing wise, the next agenda item in tonight's commission discussion would be the use of impact fees for this. I can tell you we have one of our service clubs in West Bend is taking up this discussion item in early April. They're considering a very significant donation towards this project. If we were to get the impact fees, that donation and support from the Lawrann Friends Board, we would definitely be off and running. This project is not scheduled to start in 25 or 26. We want to start it this year. That our goal is to break ground this year, get the grading done, seeding done, fence up, start using it, and then as we collect more or receive more donations, we can continue to grow. We can continue to grow this project. I also put it in everyone's place this evening. This is an example of what we would use for potential fundraising. Please don't grade my grammar or anything on your teacher. I kind of just threw this together yesterday for a good discussion item with the Lawrann board last evening and then the commission tonight. But we would do something, we're naming rights for each one of the different elements. If someone wants to donate funding for that wooden deck, we would just do a nice, classy sign on there supported by someone's family foundation company, things like that. But at the same time, we also have opportunities on here for some smaller donations. One good example of using and receiving smaller donations out at the Conservancy, we have our solar panels that are out there. On the east side of the Marin Center, we have a large board with all kinds of different donors' names on it specifically for those solar panels. And those donations were $50, $100, $150, $200 blocks. And we raise a significant amount of money just off of, smaller donations like that. So when we look at fundraising for this, it's not just the large donations that's gonna help get this completed. It's the $150, $200 donations that'll really help make a difference. So with that being said, questions, I guess.
First of all, okay, so it sounds like your guys are gonna do a lot of the work, is that correct?
Correct.
What does that take away from working on Regner Park and all the other park system? If they're gonna spend all week working out there,
Yep.
does that take away from your other stuff?
Yes and no. So every year we always do several in-house projects. This year, another in-house project for Dan's staff would be Villa Park Playground. That playground itself will probably take half the staff about 3 weeks to go over there, do that sort of work. The grading that we're talking about, the site preparation, that we would have to hire a contractor for, come in and do that work. We can't have our staff doing that in June, July, and August. We have a park system to manage. Yep. So the work that our staff would be doing, like some of the prep work that they're already doing, they're doing it this time of the year. Prepping these logs, debarking the logs, preparing them for construction for the agility area, things like that. The work our staff would do out there, Mike, would be in September, October, into November, something like that.
And my other question is, I look at this, it's wonderful, okay? But 250,000, I don't think that's gonna cover it. And again, we're out fundraising again. That's West Bend's favorite deal, right?
Yep.
I think it's gonna be more towards, again, I'm not an expert on this, but over 500,000. Do people have that realized that 250, I don't think is gonna cover all this work? If you're bringing grading people in at $200 an hour and all that stuff?
So these costs, Rick actually contacted different contractors and suppliers.
Oh, so they're hard costs?
Oh, yeah, these are pretty close, Mike.
Okay,
These are budget numbers we're gonna
Okay.
go do. So everything you see on your drawing here, that's our primary goal, secondary, that's the whole
right, right.
package.
Over time, you'll get it all.
Yep, so we're looking at our primary goals. I mean, we're looking at the sensory garden, the entrance arch, the wood deck, amphitheater, the sensory walls, the agility area.
Right.
Though, that's our primary.
Get that started.
Get
and
it started,
then-
get it open, hopefully generate some more enthusiasm for
Okay.
the fundraising and growth. It's not even on any of our lists here. We have that small machine shed out there. If we can grow fast enough, or if we continue to grow throughout the years, we would consider turning that into an open air shelter that would support this play area. And we would look at constructing another small storage shed on the property. So we have even more ideas beyond what's on this drawing that just continue to grow this as we go. But no, Rick's done a great job. Meeting with suppliers. I mean, he was down in Landon, he was down in Racine looking at stone suppliers for like for the amphitheater, the stone that Courtney showed in the one picture.
Right.
Yeah, so no, it's not just the cost of the stone, shipping it, getting it here, getting it installed.
That's my
so-
only concern is, like I said, I'm doing my backyard.
Yeah.
It's gonna cost me $30,000. That ain't close to this whole deal.
So, yeah, and again, for the grading on here, there's grading involved just to lower that little plateau. That's about it. We don't want a flat surface. If we want to build a flat surface, and we're going to build a
Use the
traditional
features
playground.
that are there.
Yep, absolutely. We want to build decks. We want to put in those little hopping posts and things like that. We don't want it just on a flat surface,
Okay.
you know? So,
And a lot of it's been cleared out already. from
yep. And, even future maintenance, I mean, like the area that's cleared out, that was all cleared by volunteers. Dan's staff hauled a lot of it away. In the future for maintenance, Courtney would take care of some of the things, our stewards out there, staff, volunteer groups. If one of the mud kitchens gets worn out and, because overuse, great, well, we have more Boy Scouts all the time that are constructing those items for us. And that's what's gonna make this happen.
Cool.
Yeah, so, and a lot of that, we have. Courtney has how many tables and mud kitchens, and there's a lot of cool stuff we already have that we could put it out there yesterday, literally.
Just a quick question, Mike. I guess I had this thought, and then I looked at the list again, and I realized that it's a toddler maze / sculpture garden.
Yep.
So is this something maybe the Friends of Sculpture might get involved with?
We could definitely approach someone like that, yes, you bet,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
could take that back to a meeting or something
Yep.
and just
Yep.
mention it and get
Sure.
the juices flowing on it a little
Yep,
bit.
absolutely.
Yeah, because we could search out sculpture and stuff like that. But I think if it's a toddler maze, you're not going to want the kind of stuff these guys are looking at.
I don't know, you
We'll
never
see.
know what
Yeah,
them.
we'll see. Yeah, okay.
We do have two of their sculptures out there, they're great.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Craig Walker and I went out to the meeting last night, and we saw this presentation. It seemed like, a lot of work's been put into this, and they seem excited about it and everything, and I think it'll be a great addition to Lac Lawrann.
Oh, well, for sure.
Yeah.
Mike, just one question. You said they were gonna put a 6-foot wood fence out there. Why are we going so high with it?
Just along the road and a little bit up the driveway, Alan. After that, it'd be 4 foot. Because 4 foot, my 9-year-old son's gonna climb over the top of it and to be honest with you, I won't, having it next to Schmidt Road is a concern. And we just wanna make sure that literally, we would run, the 6-foot fence would be on dry ground, and we would run cyclone fence into that pond there to ensure that no kids can get around that.
Right.
Not that they're going to or whatever, but we just need to make sure that if we're providing them an environment, it needs to be as safe as possible. Honestly, I don't like fence, especially like around a playground or something. I don't want the kids or the parents or any of the users to feel like they're in a cage, in a jail, or anything else like that. But along the road, we've got a lot of nice little popple trees in there, things like that. We can run that fence along there. Some of the sensory walls that we're looking at doing, we would have up in front of that, hopefully kind of breaking it up a little bit, hiding it a little. Part of the drawing also, Rick has included just some shrubs and vegetation around that. We would consider doing that also. Now, fence costs money to put up. Fence can cost money if a tree falls on it. You got to repair it, stain it in the future, things like that. It rots. It has to be replaced. Normally, we don't like to do that, but in this particular situation, the safety factor, I think, kind of forces us to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's a good question. Yeah, I don't care for fences like that, but I think something like this we might need to.
Just one more quick question. I don't mean to drag this on too far, but I've never been to a park like this. You mentioned, Courtney, right when you started, that the closest one is Waukesha.
Retzer Nature Center.
And why? Again, I haven't been to one of these. So why are folks going from here all the way to Waukesha for this kind of park? It's that cool, huh?
Yeah, what the kind
Okay.
of things we showed you is that it's a different type of playground than where kids are just doing more imaginative, more heavy lifting, skill building, team building skills, where kids just want to be climbing on stuff. I mean, they're using the objects, like I'll just use an example. If you're going to the store, you're paying with your little wood chips over there, that's your money. Maybe if you go to the bank, then maybe you go to the store, you're gonna buy some food, someone's handing you pine cones. You just have to be using your imagination, using what you find outside. Now, okay, now I'm gonna go home and make my pie. Well, I have to go collect my water and my mud, then I'm gonna bake it and go sell it at the store. So kids are just, and again, this is kind of what I already see at summer camp, is kids finding things outside, and then they're putting berries on top of their mud pie, and now they got a cherry pie that they're trying to feed you or whatnot. But I think parents just like that it's something different than they typically see. And
that leads me to my next question: do you feel like there's enough parents? Maybe do you feel like there's enough parents around here that are aware of this kind of thing, that it's going to be popular right away, or is it going to take a while to get popular? Or I mean, it's gonna take a while to build it anyway, so I guess it'll develop as the park develops. But
I think I've had lots of positive feedback from the people I've spoken to, and just because I'm a mom of a 10-year-old, and that's what I do with him on the weekends, is we go check out all the different nature playgrounds, and I've found that my son will stay and play for hours at a nature playground versus
a regular one, yeah.
some other kind of playgrounds, and it's just because he's out using his imagination, and it's anytime you go to it, it's like a different experience based on who's there and what do they want to play.
Sure.
And it feels like you're at summer camp every time you're there, and that's how the kids are at camp, is they are off staying busy because they're just lost in nature exploring. And
that's awesome. Good.
How many field trips do you have scheduled for this May?
14.
So again, just
That's exposure right there.
Yep,
yeah.
right there.
Right, right. I got
We
you.
have a
Okay.
homeschool group that uses
Yeah,
Courtney's
that's right. I
classroom
figured
on
you
a
guys got a
weekly
bunch of
basis,
stuff going
things
on
like
out there.
that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
and part of this too is, I mean, I'm going to look long term, like generationally.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, our users at Lac Lorraine, a lot of them are our age, 20 and older, things like that. Hiking,
Our age.
our age and beyond. Courtney's age and but my point is, if we can start getting the younger people connected to that property as they grow, hopefully the future of that property, I mean, I'll be long gone. Hopefully the future of that property, that'll support some of that, 20, 30, 40 years down the road.
I know that's been an issue with that particular park. I know what you're talking
Yep.
about. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's good.
We talk about Regner Park, and we all grew up swimming in there and all that. Hopefully, some of those youngsters that we get this constructed, they have that somewhat of that same connection to this property as they grow. So,
Like, I would say my family, it probably was 7 years ago, maybe more. But when my kids are younger, we went to a playground like this outside of the Twin Cities with a bunch of my college roommates and their kids. It's still what they talk about. Like, it was by far,
Wow,
and
okay.
still is just like one of their
That's awesome.
favorite
It looks
places with
great.
the building structures and the water things, and
Sure.
it just
sure.
was
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think it looks great. I just
it'll be
haven't
good.
had any experience with it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the questions. I do, I really do.
I mean, working from the Conservancy, I see almost the same people every single day coming with their young kids, and right now it's for usually a hike. I mean, sometimes the 2-year-old is literally just running up and down the ramp next to my doors. But I know if that was there, that's, you know, instead of, I mean, they're still gonna use the trails, but that's, they would love if they're coming from their house to that every single day. That would be kind of like a neighborhood playground for them.
Cool.
All right, are there any other questions or comments? Otherwise, if there aren't, does anybody have a motion to go ahead and approve this project?
Motion to approve?
A second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other comments? All those in favor of signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then that leads us to new business, item 1.
I will take that. This evening, our department is seeking approval to transfer $75,000 from the Park Trust Park Impact Fees account to an expense account to be used for costs associated with the construction of the nature playground at Lawrann. We'd utilize those funds to do the initial work, any earthwork that needs to be done, the fencing, grading, and site preparation to get this project up and off the ground. As of December 31st of 2023, we had $474,700 in that account. I did include in your memo this evening 2 attachments to this. One is the Park Rec Forestry fundraising opportunities. This sheet is really nothing new to the commission. I think you see it probably once or twice a year. The nature playground has definitely been on that list. And then the second sheet is where we are at with impact fees. As I noted, we have that $474,000 in the account right now. As you can see on the spreadsheet, we do have some pending additions to that with Sand Drive, the West Bend Transit area. Creekside Development, I didn't know exactly how many more homes we had yet that, you know, to pay for impact fees. So, in Sand Drive and Transit, those projects will be coming online shortly. So, also on that spreadsheet, we do have phase 3 of the Riverwalk project. We will most likely have to transfer some funds for that. That was part of the original plan with the Riverwalk construction. That money would basically be coming from the district area or the district development to help pay for that phase 3. And then you can see other pending projects that we have on here. One question this week from Mr. Weston was like the Riverwalk from Quas Creek to Riverside Park. Where would that fall into a priority or a timeline, things like that? And that's a great question. Part of that is that development of that Riverwalk, when it does happen in the future, most likely those areas will be residential development. We would most likely use the impact fees from that development to pay for that Riverwalk right there. So when we look at the $75,000 for tonight, or any other financial commitment, I like to look 5, 10, 15 years down the road where we need to be. And some of those future projects will be developed. The impact fees will come from that new development, like the Riverside Park, Quas Creek trail connection. It's going to happen someday. It's just, it'll happen when that development goes through. And that development, those impact fees will pay for that. A good example, when we did that section of Riverwalk, the developer actually constructed it for us. So in lieu of physically paying us those fees, they constructed that section of Riverwalk for us. So if we can do that again in the future, that'd be great, so.
Well, this is what that money's for.
Yep. Just a quick question here. So if you use Riverwalk Phase 2 LLC and all abilities playground, you're gonna chew up the whole $475,000, is that correct? You got 200,
Yep.
180, and
Yep.
75. So you're gonna take that down to almost nothing.
The West Bend Transit, 207,000, Mike,
More's coming in.
has,
All abilities,
yep, but up on top though, Mike, we're looking at another over $500,000 in
Oh,
it.
the
So-
365 is
More
coming
comes
in,
in.
okay.
Yep.
I didn't see that for the sand.
And the 207 will probably be in your next quarterly trust report.
Okay.
I think the money actually came in. It's never,
Okay,
it's never
I
made
gotcha.
it into the report
I didn't
yet.
see that part.
Yep. So basically, with the monies we have currently, the residential developments that are going to happen, they're past plan commission, everything else, we will have just north of $1 million in that
Okay.
account.
I see the number
So,
now.
and again, and I look at that, and I mean, to me, that's a tremendous amount of money, and it's a great situation to have.
Years ago, it is.
Yeah, and, I mean, it's not our goal it's not a horse race now to spend it. Let's do it wisely. You know, that's why we're not asking this evening for, $150,000 or anything like that. The $75,000 will get, I'll say, all the dirty work done, get the site prepped. Then we can start using it just with basic elements, and then move forward. And, when we do our fundraising, people ask, hey, what's the city's skin in the game? What's the city's financial commitment? This would be it. This would be the $75,000 to, get that work started.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And we have item 2, transfer funds from the special events. Dan, you're going to
I
talk about
got that one. So tonight, staff is requesting commission's approval to use the funds from the special event park impact fee account, from which we created in 2015. When anybody rents one of our facilities, $100 has been collected for each special event held there in our park system. As of March 13th, that balance was $11,600. We're asking for roughly $4,100, $4,070 to replace and buy new picnic tables for Regner Park up by the pavilion area. We're looking at 12 tables for $4,100. So, I mean, to keep everything up to date and clean and fresh and appealing, we want to get rid of all the green, nasty old tables. I roughly figured it out, and for us to do, what happens is I order 12 galvanized frames. We build them in-house. It costs roughly $4,100. So it's $335 a table. Today I looked online to get the same size table galvanized from Uline is $595 a piece. So we're saving ourselves $260 by doing it in-house. So that's what we're requesting, to have those fees transferred for us to be able to buy those galvanized frames and build tables.
Motion approved. Second.
There's a motion and a second.
Money well spent.
We got to replace them eventually. Is there any other comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Then we have placement of sculpture, full circle. Decision's been made where to put it.
Yes, the full circle sculpture has been before the commission several times. Just different development activity downtown on Main Street to Riverwalk. The locations have kind of changed here and there, this and that. This evening, the West Bend Friends of Sculpture are presenting the donation of Full Circle. They're requesting that it be placed along Veterans Avenue, that Veterans Avenue Riverwalk by the North Pedestrian Bridge. The Friends of Sculpture would be responsible for the installation costs associated with it. We met on site, we reviewed the site with the Friends of Sculpture, we reviewed it with Development, Engineering, Public Works, and everyone else I could absolutely think of. And everyone is agreeing that this is a good spot for it. Friends of Sculpture, they like it for multiple reasons. The pedestrian traffic walking by it on the sidewalk itself, the bridge, it's visible from the road. It's going to be I really like this location, and they're also looking at incorporating a QR code for it. It explains the sculpture, but also explains the group itself. So that's their proposal.
Yeah, I think that's a good location too, right by the museum.
Yep.
And along the Riverwalk, it'll look nice there.
And they would also request, first right of refusal, that if the city would ever say, we need to put in a wider bridge or something, we need to move it, that, they would be the ones to receive that sculpture.
Do you know if that's ever happened? I've never heard of that, anything like that happening.
No,
No.
no.
Do you need a motion on that? Motion to approve.
Yep, because it's considered a donation.
Motion?
Motion to approve, yes.
Mike seconded. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Special events. Mike's gonna start out with that?
Yes, okay, so item number 4 in your agenda, it's special events, no fee required. We did the same thing last month. I believe we have 7 of them this evening for this category. Again, these fees, the fees for the events are, our department fees are waived for these events for many different reasons. MOUs that we might have with different organizations, things like that. Or they're our own events, or they're co-sponsored events with our friends group, things like that. But each one of these events, they still need to get the city's permit. They need to go through the clerk's office. They need to have the liability insurance and all that. So all of those necessities are still in place. It's just fees to our department are waived. So I will go through the 7 or so and then request one vote for them. May 10th of this year, we have the Good Shepherd softball tournament. That is a one-day tournament out at Quas Creek Park. That is a youth high school tournament. The second one is the Al's Hideout Car Show. This is scheduled for May 11th. Al's Hideout, they did this last couple of years. They utilized the parking lot in Regner Park for kind of a smaller car show. It doesn't impact any of our events or operations. 2024 German Night is scheduled for July 17th. This is with, we co-sponsor this event with our friends of Park and Recreation. The next event is Regner Fest, scheduled for July 19th and 20th. Again, we co-sponsor this event with our friends of Park and Recreation. The next event is our department event, the 30 Ninja Mud Run, scheduled for July 20th. And the next event is the West Bend Athletic Association Nitro Softball Tournament. Again, this is part of the MOU we have with the Athletic Association for a number of softball tournaments out at Quas Creek Park. That is for July 26th through the 28th, youth girls softball. And the last one for the no fees is the Wisconsin Riders Benefit Event, September 7th. This is with our West Bend Police Department. And again, in conjunction with the commission policies, we do not invoice other city departments for events like this. Thank you.
Yeah, these have all been in our packet and we've all reviewed them. And if there's any questions or comments, otherwise, if someone's got a motion to approve them.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second, no other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Then we have the West Bend Lightning Fast Pitch Tournament.
All right, so some minor changes with this one that occurred this week. West Bend Lightning is part of the Little League Association. They were planning on using Quas Creek Park and Barton Park. The fields at Quas Creek would be at no charge. Again, that is part of the MOU with the Athletic Association. This week, we did find out that they will not be utilizing the Barton facilities for their tournament. So this event has actually turned into a no-fee event. No impact fee, not, yep.
Okay, any questions on that one? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Homegrown Music Festival.
This is an annual event in Regner Park. It's a Sunday event, very popular, July 14th. This is put on by the Homegrown Foundation. Again, basic setup for our staff. It's a good event, good local bands, things like that. Costs associated with the event are on your sheet.
Yeah, I'm glad they're still going to have that concert.
Yep.
And there was no issue, remember, we had an issue at one time about being the same, was it Thursday nights or is it?
So this is their Sunday event, Mike, that
Sunday event, okay.
they've had forever,
Yep.
or not forever, but for many years. And then they were doing their Regner Rocks event.
Okay.
And this year, they're not going to host
they're not,
any
okay.
Regner Rocks events. Yep. We met with them Some of the commissioners met with them, things like that, talked through it, and they just decided that they would forego any events for this season.
It's a good deal.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I motioned.
Motion, a second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Then we have Moose Fest.
All right, this is a new event this year, the Moose Lodge. They're pretty excited about it. They want to host a fundraising event in Rector Park. They always have many different events over at the Moose Lodge, fish fries, brat fries, things like that. They want to take some of that and move it into the park and turn it into a one-day event in early August. For us in Regner Park, we have those very limited openings, so this works out for their schedule and the park. We would still have swimming going on and things like that, so they're looking at kind of a music event for the day, food and beverage sales and all that good stuff. So the fees associated with their event are shown here. I don't know if the commission wants, what the commission would like to do, but in the past, we've waived these fees for first-year events. What we try to do, or the commission's tried to do in the past, someone starts a new event, there's always a lot of startup costs for the event, hiring bands, things like that. And in an effort to support the community group, the commission in the past they've waived these fees associated with it. If the commission decides to do that this evening, great. The organization would still have to get the city permit, still pay for beer licensing and all that. That would still have to occur. The insurance would still have to be there, all of that. It would just be the rental fees, the impact fees that you see here, if you so chose to waive those.
I was going to suggest that we do that. I think it would be a good idea. It'd also be a nice gesture because they did help us with that playground build.
They did, yep. Yep.
It's a
Make it-
local community thing, it's wonderful. So are they gonna have horseshoes there too?
I don't know. If they do, great, it'd be great.
I'll make a motion to approve and waive the fees.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion or comments? All those in favor of waiving the fees signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Art and Chalk Fest?
Art and Chalk Fest is scheduled this year for August 16th through the 18th. This has been an ongoing event. The Museum of Wisconsin Art is again hosting this. The fees that are associated with it are our park staff, full-time and seasonal employees, taking some of our equipment down to picnic tables, things like that for them to use. There are no rental fees for the Riverwalk along Veterans Avenue. They really don't use the Riverwalk all that much. They use Veterans Avenue and all that. So again, this evening, these fees that we see here, again, are just for our department. It is not Public Works. It is not our clerk's office, things like that. Public Works spends a lot of time hauling in barricades for road closures and things like that. That is 100% separate. That does not fall within our jurisdiction as for the commission or our department. So this is only related to Park Recreation and Forestry.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. German Fest.
German Fest is wanting to come back to Regner Park. They had a very successful year last year in the park as their inaugural attempt. As we remember, the Main Street construction project kind of moved them out of downtown from last year. We, the city, have been very supportive of German Fest and their committee. I can tell you 8 other city departments are also in support of moving German Fest to Regner Park on a regular basis. The police department is very excited about doing it, just getting it in the park away from vehicular traffic and safety concerns and things like that. So again, in front of you this evening are all the requirements, the general highlights for the event, and the costs associated with it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Question I have is the tent, where are they going to put the tent? Is there a grass area or what?
I think it's going to be north, right near the restrooms over there, Picnic Grove 6,
Oh, okay.
I believe.
There's room for it over there?
Yep, we've done that already, a smaller tent.
Oh, it's not like going to be a big one like they have
No.
had downtown?
No, and that's part of their cost savings for their event. They don't need that huge
right.
tent and the rent, the rental for that.
Tents are
you know,
expensive, yeah.
And just, I mean, to be honest with you, their electrician downtown, it would take him about 40 hours to wire everything. At Regner Park, he did it in a day. So we're good because it's set up for that. I mean, Regner Park, the entertainment area is set up for an event like this.
It made sense a long time ago.
So, yeah. So,
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Then we have donations.
I have all three of the donations tonight. The first one is from Russ Darrow Auto Group for $5,000 as the presenting sponsor for the Dirty Ninja Mud Run for Kids this year. So thank you to Russ Darrow Auto for that. The second is from Steiner Electric for $1,250 as a Ninja level sponsorship for the Dirty Ninja Mud Run for Kids. So thank you to Steiner Electric for that donation. And the third one is Killian Management Services for $1,250, also as a Ninja level sponsorship for this year's Dirty Ninja Mud Run for Kids. So thank you, Killian Management Service.
That is great. Is there a motion to approve the donations?
Motion to approve.
There's a second?
Second.
And any comments?
Thanks
those-
for
Thank
West
you.
Bend
Yeah,
again.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And we're at reports. For my report, I just want to say April 2nd, Justice is up for re-election, and good luck to you.
Vote early, vote often.
Okay, twice?
I think I speak for everyone when I say your knowledge and your input and your passion for the parks and the city are
Who's running
commendable.
against you?
Thank you,
so-
thank you, thank you.
Who's
I
running
appreciate
against
that.
you?
I don't want to say his name.
Chris Jenkins?
No, Bill Schmidt. It's just the guy that lives right up the street from me. He's been a client for
just
years.
asking.
No,
Yeah.
good luck, and we hope to see you back on the commission here. soon.
Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that, Mike.
Courtney, you have anything else? You can say no if you want.
Starting April 2nd, we will be potting for the plant sale. So plant sale season is around the corner. And so it'll be buzzing with volunteers potting 2 days a week to get our 6,000 plants ready for our plant sale May 11th this year.
And you can use help out there, too.
Yes, come on
Commissioners
down.
want to give you a hand?
Every Tuesday, Thursday, and we feed you lunch
Oh,
Oh, that drives people in.
and breakfast. Lots of food and coffee.
all right, thanks. And we have, Rick's not here. Ryan, you have anything for us?
Before I get started, Carolyn, did you have something that you wanted to say tonight? Okay. All right. So I'm finishing up the lifeguarding course this weekend with 4 out of the 7. The other 3 out of the 7 had conflicts come up. So finish with them in the near future. All young, intelligent teenagers. So excited to hopefully have them on board as lifeguards and swim instructors in Regner this summer and for the foreseeable future. Spring sports are beginning the week of April 8th. So this year we're offering youth track and field, baseball, softball, and then archery at the range on Municipal Drive on Saturdays. Enrollment numbers are looking strong there. One of the soccer age brackets is already filled with 25 participants, and there's a couple on the wait list. So spring sports right around the corner. Also interviewing and hiring a bunch of part-time seasonal recreation workers for the summer. I've probably interviewed 10 to 15 in the last couple of weeks, so I'm definitely in a better position for the recreation side of things in 2024 than I was in 2023. So I'm anticipating that my staff for the summer will be filled definitely by May 1st. So things are looking good there. Get them all on board, trained, ready to go for the summer in late May, early June. And then I have been working pretty heavily with the newly formed Friends of West Bend Skate Park Incorporated nonprofit. So far, we've obtained our articles of incorporation from the state of Wisconsin and an FEIN number from the IRS. We drafted some bylaws for the nonprofit, and in the next couple of meetings with the guys, we will be reviewing those and voting on those to hopefully get those passed in as the bylaws, the starting bylaws of the nonprofit. And then next Thursday, the group, myself and Mike, are going to be hosting a public information meeting at the Beach House at 6:15, just to kind of give anyone that shows up an update of where we are with the skate park, how we kind of got to be where we're at, and then steps moving forward to hopefully getting a new skate park constructed in sometime in the relatively near future. So excited for that process.
We always call it a skate park, but do you have bike people involved with it too?
It would be titled the skate park most likely, but yes, any skateboard, bike, scooter, rollerblades, any wheeled activity would be welcome to participate and use the park. Mike?
How many lifeguards do you have now?
I looked earlier. I was at 34 or 35.
Oh.
Last summer I was at 24 or 25. So
Outstanding.
yep, definitely
Good
looking
shape.
good there. I'm to the point now I've had to turn away applicants just because I'm full. So
Didn't
great,
it used
great
to be
problem
like
to
that?
have.
It used to be like that, no?
That
Way
was a
back in the
hotspot
day,
to
yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Some of them
I'm
were
glad to see that back.
were referrals too, right?
Right. Yep. So I did put in a small referral bonus for returning lifeguards, and that definitely took some work off of my plate just because they were excited to have their friend come work, and then the monetary incentive behind it. So
It's great.
Mike, if I may just make a comment on that. I mean, as Ryan just said, part of it is the hourly rate. That's part of it. But it's also that Ryan's built a culture down there, a group, a team, an environment where these young people, they want to work. They want to be part of that. So that's,
It's
the
never just the
monetary
money.
aspect is.
It's never just the money.
That's just a starting point.
Yeah.
It's the full package. So, I mean, Ryan deserves a mountain of credit for his efforts and his time and his personality and his leadership skills to get it to where we're at. We're turning away applicants. So that says a lot about our recreation supervisor.
That's awesome.
Go, Ryan.
That's awesome.
Is that it?
yes, that's all I have. Thank you.
Dan, you have anything for us?
Couple things, finalize the purchase of a Kubota, local dealer, Lawrann. We'll be taking delivery of that in about 2 weeks.
What kind of Kubota? What,
Kubota UTV. It's,
Orange.
got a dump on the back too, or
Yep,
not?
it's gonna have a dump, it's gonna have enclosed cab, and it's gonna have a V-plow on the front.
Oh, really?
So that, yeah, so that we can.
Because they're
plow
hard to get right
sidewalks.
now. You got it on order or not?
He had one on the lot,
Oh, he did.
so I jumped on it.
Okay.
We went through the bid process, I got 4 bids, he came in at the best number.
Good to hear.
and they
Local
had
guy.
one. Yeah, so, just came in just shy of 35 grand, and that money came from all those auction items and some leftover
Oh.
funds from when we purchased our chipper. So that worked out good. Also purchased 2 new soccer goals for Kenny Park this week. Those are probably the worst ones in the system that we had left. So we've been working with Pioneer Paint. That's who we get most of our athletic supplies and field supplies with. John Vogie, and we'll be getting those probably in 2-3 weeks. Finalize the numbers for the forestry guys. This year, they pruned just shy of 3,300 trees. It's gotta be almost one of the most
Yeah.
that we've ever had while I've been around. They took care of 2 full aldermatic districts, and they finished up the one around City Hall, which was probably a third of that district. And I think they did a fantastic job. So weather cooperated very well with that.
Those guys are hard workers too. I watch them. They're on the move. They're not just sitting there looking at a tree.
Well, the big thing that we try to get across is you're in the public eye. Everybody's watching whether
There
you
you
see
go.
them
Up
or
in the
not.
front window.
Yeah.
That's me.
So,
Yeah.
Don't sit there and goof around, just keep working.
Old retired guy.
Start kids.
The other thing we're doing forestry right now is jumping out ahead of the engineering road projects. We're cutting down all the street trees that we've gone through and marked for removal to get ahead of that process. We've been doing that. All the tennis nets and soccer nets are up for the snow. So,
1
yeah.
to 3.
I hope, but it's looking like a little bit more, so hopefully this is the end of it, because then we'll start changing things over, get summer going here, so that's what I got.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dan.
Carolyn, you have something?
Yeah, I do. As of this afternoon, the Dirty Ninja Mud Run for Kids registration's off to a good start. We've got about 740 kids registered. That's ahead of last year's pace by about 75, so doing really well on that. Most of them are registering online, which is great for Tanya and I. We don't get all the calls, but registration for spring, as Ryan said too, is busy right now. The summer booklets are out, people got them. and you got a copy of them there. So we just got our copies here, so we're excited about that. Excited parents are calling, asking a few questions here and there too. So we're getting ready for registration, which opens March 26th, next Tuesday, and then April 2nd is for our non-residents. So as I held up here too, in the back of the booklet, 4 pages for rentals. People looking at that, a few people calling here this past week too. We get calls every day, and sadly, we've had to turn some people away. Our rentals are crazy this year. A lot of things are booked up already. Lawrann Conservancy specifically, every Saturday and Sunday from the end of May to the end of September is booked. A lot of that's due to the 9 weddings we have that take up a whole weekend, but everything else is filled up as well. The beach house has 1 Saturday left and 4 Sundays within that same time period for the summer. Riverside Park Pavilion only has 1 Saturday and a handful of Sundays. Camp Lodge, a little bit more availability, but only 3 Saturdays. So people call, we try to switch them up, talk them into an outdoor shelter, open air shelter, and getting some bookings that way too, but helping people obviously get a facility for the day they want. So of course, rentals are up and revenue is up as well. Did the revenue for 2023 for just the facilities that we rent, and it's a total of $79,000 compared to $67,000 for 2022. So that's good. A lot of that has to do with the new facility being able renting the beach house, of course. But I kind of was wondering, is the beach house taking rentals away from our existing facilities? And it is not. It's all new. It's in addition to. Riverside Rentals is the revenue number was the same. Lawrann Conservancy hasn't suffered at all. Camp Lodge hasn't at all either. So this is additional revenue for a new facility. I tell you, a lot of people just love those indoor facilities, especially with air conditioning. I could rent out a few more of them if we had them, for sure. So otherwise, looking at budget planning for next year, operational-wise, also all the expenses are just going, crazy, as you all know. So just looking at water, electric, even just software maintenance, supplies, cleaning supplies, everything's gone up. So I'm just kind of looking at numbers and going to try to make good suggestions, educated guesses, so that we can set a good budget for 2025. This past week, Tanya worked to send out letters for our tree plantings. That always goes out in March, telling people what tree they're getting, what species, when they're going to be planted, how the whole process works for their tree surety contract when those plantings go in. And the flip side of that letter, it has care instructions, just so that they know a little bit more about how to care for a new tree. A lot of people haven't done this before, so it kind of cuts down again on the number of phone calls that we get in the office, answers all their questions up front. I thank Tanya for doing all that. She's taken the lead on that, and it really helps to have her when she's in the office part-time. She takes the load of most of the phone calls as well too, so I can get my work done. So she's just been a great asset to our department in that. In fact, she's helping out the clerk's department a few days here too, helping them out for voting and early voting, and possibly will help in November as well. So kudos to her for all she does for the department.
Great. Mike, you have anything, or is that it?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so we've covered everything on the agenda.
How about you?
I don't have anything else.
You don't?
No. So I will adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you.